Hi everyone, you're welcome to today's masterclass on data analytics, and it's my pleasure to have you here. Right now, I actually believe that at the end of this session, you would have gained valuable insights and be able to visualize certain type of data, then also draw a little bit of conclusion from what you will learn from today's session. That being said, it's really nice to have you. And so, without wasting much of our time, I really want us to just dive into today's business. And somebody said the best way to predict the future is by analyzing the past. What do you think of that? The best way to predict the future is by analyzing the past. The truth is, we all leave a trail in our daily activities, right? Our actions every time is a pointer to what we the kind of person we are. Take for example, if you create a new social media account, right? Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm very sure that on the first day you create your account, right, most of the content that will be on your feed do not really resonate with your kind of person, right? They are just maybe random celebrities, random content. Sometimes it's even blank, nothing there, it's just brand new, because you have not really, there is no data for these social media companies to use to generate content for you or to push content to you. But then the moment you begin to scroll through, search for people, search for friends, search for celebrity, watch videos, watch like posts, like content, they start to track your activity, and doing all of those, it gives them a pointer to the kind of person you are. And so they are actually able to predict your kind of person based on your search history, based on the things you have done, you start to do, based on the content you start to like, the videos you start to watch. They start to gather those kind of data, and then they start to analyze it and predict the kind of things that you love to do. And so that is why when you randomly they just push a video to you, let's say a football content, and you spend some time to watch it, you spend the next 3-5 minutes to watch it, you're telling Facebook, you're telling Instagram, you're telling TikTok that this kind of content is what I like. And automatically, even though you do not like it, you do not comment on it, automatically they begin to push those kind of videos to you, and you start to realize that you're seeing more of these kind of videos in your page. And so they're able to predict what you do next by analyzing what you have done in the past. So before we actually go too much and talk too further, let me quickly introduce myself to you. My name is Timothy Bamishai, and I am your host and tutor for tonight. I am a tech enthusiast, a data analyst, a programmer, also a website developer. And for my day job, I work for an NGO called Breakthrough Action Nigeria, funded by the USAID to promote positive health behavior through social behavioral change. And over the last 12 months, my team and I have trained over 1,200 people in various aspects of tech, both online and offline. So what is data? That's the big question right now. Data are facts and figures collected and stored to help us understand something better. Remember, they are facts and figures that we collect and we store, right? If you don't collect them, if you don't store them, they are virtually useless, because that means you're not making use of it. You're not going to make use of it, and so you're not it's not really data anymore, right? So you collect them and you store them, and the purpose of collecting and storing them is to be able to analyze them so that they can help you understand that thing better. You can be able to make future decisions out of the data that you collected. And here are 3 major categories of data that we'll be talking about in our sessions, right? We'll be talking about primary and secondary data, which is one major category of data. We'll be talking about qualitative and quantitative data. We would also be talking about structured and unstructured data. And so we say primary data are data collected directly from sources. For example, your surveys, right? Your questionnaire, e-forms. Somebody give you a form to fill online. You're putting your full name, you're putting your phone number, you're putting your address, whatever it is. Those are primary source of data or primary data, especially if the person who gives you the form to fill is the one who needs it, is the one who created the form. For the person, that is going to be a primary kind of data. And secondary data are pre-existing data collected by others. For example, if you open a journal, a magazine, a newspaper, weekly bulletins, or data that you got from third-party databases, right? You go online, you can easily search for data sets and you're using them. Those are secondary data. And the reason is because you are not the one who collected the data. So secondary data are for other people, but you find a way to get access to them and use them for whatever it is you want to use them for. Up next, we have the qualitative and quantitative kind of data. Qualitative data are non-numerical. They are descriptive data. For example, you have text, images, audios, right? If I open your phone gallery, for example, and depends on the kind of images you have on your gallery, I can deduce the kind of person you are. If you're this person who likes to take a lot of screenshots of wares, of shoes, of bags online, it gives me this insight that you are this kind of person that likes to buy things online, right? You like good things, you like fancy things, and that's the kind of data, for example, right? Your images are kind of data, text are kind of data, right? And then you also have quantitative kind of data, which is numerical. They are measurable. You can have things like numbers, right? You can have things like numbers, like say, for example, population of a location, population of a state. Those are numbers. You can have ratings. Somebody told you to rate something 1 to 5. That is the kind of data, and they are just collecting that from you. And the third but not the least is the structured and unstructured data. For the structured data, they are organized and formatted in a specific pattern. For example, your Excel database tables. Now, remember, your Excel spreadsheet is formatted in rows and columns, and so also is your database tables. They are all in rows and columns. And the other type of data is the unstructured data. They are unorganized, unformatted, with no specific pattern. For example, emails, audios, status posts, etc. Right? This kind of data, they have no specific pattern. There is no way for you to actually to easily analyze them. You need to make reference or inference from whatever from this kind of data, right? Just like we're talking, I'm discussing with you right now. It's a kind of data I'm sharing, right? If you look at it properly, if you think about it, you may be able to deduce 1 or 2 things about me, just the way I am talking. I don't know whatever it is that you're able to deduce right now. But then I know the way I'm talking, the way I'm sharing some information with you, in your mind, you might be able to say, okay, this is this kind of person you think Timothy is at the moment. And so it's also an example of a kind of data, right? Audios, emails, status posts, right? They are all kind of unstructured data. And the reason we call it unstructured is because it is not streamlined. You can't really specify or say or talk about what this person is going to talk about next. You can't, there's no way to put this data in a box, kind of in quote. You can't really put it in a box. You can't really say, this is where this data is. This is what is going to, in a way, right? So it's more or less unstructured. It's scattered. So let me put it that way. So beyond these 3 categories of data, why are we learning data analysis? In today's data-driven society, companies, organizations, and governments rely on data to make informed decisions, right? So let me share this brief story with you that actually drive this point home. Where I work, for example, when we first started, there was this project we were having then, and then the goal was to get people tested for tuberculosis, get as many people tested, get them enrolled in the hospital, especially for the positive clients. All right, that was the goal. And so we just started. There was no prior data that we could use to define our approach. So the goal was just go to the community, talk to people, let them, get them tested, and then we can enroll those who turned out positive. But then after a few months of doing this, we start to gather data, and then a trend, a pattern starts to emerge from the data we collected. And then we realize that even though we are talking to more ladies, more women, because they are the ones at home most of the time, we found out that there were more men who turned out positive for tuberculosis. More men were being diagnosed for TB. And so it was an unexpected trend, which also tells us that the percentage of men with TB are higher in the community. And so more men are susceptible to tuberculosis. And that also means that if we channel our efforts and energy, right, since the purpose is to get as many people tested and get as much positive clients enrolled for treatment. So if that is the goal, that means we can get more results by targeting the male population than the total population. So instead of targeting everybody, just talking to everybody, why not look for or create enabling environment that will ensure that we talk to more men than, let's say, the women. Now, this does not necessarily mean we are pushing out the ladies. No, we are not doing that. But at the same time, it means that more focus is on the male population. And so you can see that our decision making was eventually improved, and our results actually improved drastically when we actually altered, when we modified our strategy and our plans, right? We begin to get more results. We began to get more results when we actually started focusing more on this male population. And so you can see that this decision, this action, this result we were able to get this results through data analysis. And so by learning data analytics, you will gain skills that are in high demand across various industries. You'll be able to make informed decisions based on data insights, identify trends and patterns, solve real-world problems, and communicate complex ideas effectively. And here are some career opportunities as a data analyst. You can become a business analyst, a market researcher, a data journalist, monitoring and evaluation officer, a data scientist, and so many more. In fact, virtually every field, and I mean that, needs the service of a data analyst. Remember, the goal is to improve performance, make more money or make more profit, whichever one we want to talk about, and ultimately, make better decisions for your organization to grow. So that leads us to what is data analytics? The big question, what is data analysis? Data analysis is the process of extracting insights and meaning from data. Data analysis is the process of extracting insights and meaning from data. And what are the 3 steps to analyzing a data? The 3 steps to analyzing a data, they are: number 1, collecting and cleaning data. Yeah, so you have to collect your data and you have to clean them. And how do you collect your data? You can collect them through questionnaires, you can collect them through surveys or through forms, e-forms, whichever way. You must learn to collect your data. And then you can also clean this data through your softwares, Microsoft Excel, Power BI, and all other softwares you use for your analysis. Remember, after you're done collecting and cleaning data, the next step is for you to analyze and visualize your data. And you use softwares like Excel, Power BI, Tableau, R, SQL to analyze and clean your data. There are other softwares you can actually also use to do this, to analyze and visualize your data. And the 3rd step, which is the last but not the least, is to interpret your results and draw conclusion. Now, these are the 3 major things we need to learn as an analyst. Learn to collect and clean data, analyze and visualize it, then interpret your results. And then you come to a conclusion from whatever it is you got as your results, right? So all these are just the major function of a data analyst. So what are the real-world applications of data analysis, right? You can use data analysis in the healthcare sector to improve patient outcomes. In health department, that ensures that you get more results, right? Like I said the other time, it wasn't as if we left the female population. Of course, we still get cases of clients who are female, right? but you get more results with less cost targeting the male population. If today the government said there's an outbreak of Lassa fever, there's an outbreak of cholera in the country, that's because they have been able to go through the data and they realize that there is a spike, right? There's a spike in the number of clients that comes into the health centers or the health facilities. There's a spike, there's an increase beyond what is the usual average in that time frame. And so that way they can now say, okay, there is an outbreak and this outbreak needs to be combated. So beyond the healthcare sector, even in our business sector, we use this analysis to increase sales and optimize operations. We talk about many of these social media companies being some of the richest: Facebook, Google, Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that, Twitter, right? Some of the richest. But the truth is, you, the user, you don't get to pay them. So where do they get their money from? Right? You don't pay Facebook, you don't pay Twitter, you don't pay TikTok. But some of these owners are part of the richest, right? But so how do they make their money? That's because they have data in surplus, right? Quite a number of users are on all of these platforms. And so they know your data, they know what you like, they know what you enjoy to do, and they're always pushing this kind of content to you. Now, there are advertisers out there that needs to also promote their business. So they come to Facebook, they come to Google and say, please, I want to get more audience, right? I want to be able to, to get more clients. And I know that you have clients, right? Facebook has clients, Google has clients, TikTok has clients. That is you, the user, who is not even paying anything now. And so maybe the advertiser is somebody who sells makeup kits, right? They are into makeup and then things like that. So Facebook starts to push in adverts of these people in your face because they know that you like videos of people doing makeup. You're attracted by those fancy things that makes women look beautiful. Maybe the last video you watch on Facebook, for example, is about makeup, learning makeup, looking beautiful, makeup designs and things like that. Maybe the last thing you even searched for on Google is something like where to get makeup kits, how to open a makeup shop. And so, but because they have this kind of data, they are now pushing this advert in your direction. Now, your original purpose is not to go online, go on Facebook to go and buy makeup kits, right? That's not why you even logged in the first place. But they push the advert in your face. The advert is so tempting. You select, you click on the advert, and then they take you to the advertiser's page. Now, Facebook has collected their money from the advertiser, right? They've collected their money, Google has collected their money, and that's how they really make money, because they have your data. They know things you like. Advertisers also know that Facebook have access to these things, and so they pay Facebook, they pay Google, they pay Instagram, TikTok, huge amounts of money for them to get to you. And so that's how you use data analysis to also improve business, to increase sales and optimize operations. For environmental science, also you can use data analysis to track climate change and conservation efforts. And in sports, we use it to optimize teams' performance and player development. So we'll have this little assignment we're going to do together. Let's just look at this together. I want you to look at this chart carefully. And I want you to read through the chart, analyze the chart yourself. Let's just talk about this, and then let's see what reference or inference you can deduce from this chart. So from this chart, there is a little question. This is a chart from Ministry of Health showing positive clients for Lassa fever in 2023. Please, this is a disclaimer. This is not a valid or actual chart, right? This is not a valid data, right? It's just a simulation. So don't go and say Timothy said in 2023 there were 80 cases of Lassa fever. That is not what I said, though. So back to the question. Usually, Lassa fever is caused by eating infected rats or eating food already eaten by infected rats. Rats are most common during the rainy season. That's between March and September. Now, in May, the government embarked on massive community sensitization to enlighten people on how to prevent Lassa fever. According to this chart, do you think the government's efforts through community sensitization was effective? Yes or no? So I will leave you to answer that in your mind. Just take the next 5 seconds to think about it. The next 5 seconds to think about it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I think the government's efforts actually paid off because by default, between May, this is May here, which is actually the peak of the outbreak in this case. But usually it is supposed to last between March and September, which is the rainy season period, right? But because of the government's effort, you start to notice a decline in the outbreak in the month of May, right? In the month of May, you notice a decline. So that means the efforts of the government in May yielded positive results. And so that's why I actually noticed the decline in May. Because without the government's effort, the chart is actually supposed to look like something like this, right? Which will actually fall in somewhere around September. But because of the government's efforts, you can notice that there is a fall around this period, right? So I can say boldly that the government's efforts paid off. So let's look at the next chart, right? This is a pie chart showing profit generated by products sold at Zoran Enterprise. Recently, now there's a question. Recently, Zoran is looking to cut down on costs by delisting one of their products. So maybe they feel like they are spending too much on some of these products and they need to just, for whatever reason, they want to remove one of these products to, to have more money in the bank, right? To reduce their costs. And so they are by looking at this chart now, as an analyst, they are asking you which product should they remove, right? Which product should they stop selling? So just take the next 5 seconds to think about it, look at the chart carefully, and make a decision yourself. What product do you think Zoran Enterprise should stop selling? 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you think? All right, so actually, I think they should stop selling Peak, because Peak in this case generates the least amount of profit, right? And so they should just focus their attention on other products, sugar, Milo, oatmeal, Bonvita, and cowbell, right? So that is that with this question. Now, the last but not the least, there is another chart right here, and it's sports related. Let's take a look at it. Ashanti FC is a financially modest club in the Ghanaian Football League. They are looking to buy a player for the long term who would also deliver some goals. Now, they have two players in sight. Player A, who is 31-year-old, and player B. Player A is 31-year-old and also one of the best strikers in the league. Player B is 23 years old and has barely registered 10 goals. Now, with this chart, which player will you encourage Ashanti FC to buy? Player A is 31-year-old, somewhere around here, right? This is where player A is at the moment, 31-year-old. Now, the question is, they are looking for a player to buy for the long term. Now, if the team was not for the long term, we would have gone for player A. But because player A only has one more year on the average at the top, so that means after 1 year now, his performance will start to drop, right? And we cannot say if you play for a club for 1 year, that is the long term. No, that is not. But then player B is somewhere around, will be somewhere around 21, 22, somewhere around here, right? Which is not really a good result at the moment. If the last goal is called 8 goals the current season or the last season, that means it's not really a good striker yet. But if you look at the chart, they are looking for a player for the long term, let's say for 5 years, right? So that means this player has opportunity for development, and over the next 4 years, you can see that he is supposed to be on the upward trend. So that means over the next 4 years, he will start to score something around 20 goals per season, which is not a bad deal. If he stays for more years, say 5, 7, 8 years, you probably get to this point of scoring 30 goals. So that means player B is the better buy at the moment. So I do hope you understand this little analogy that we've just made. So there is a growing demand for data analysts in the market. Considering the above application of data analysis, data analysts are in high demand in today's job market. And this trend is expected to continue well into the future. And that's just the truth. We are just scratching the surface right now as data analysts. Many of our companies, of our businesses are still not there fully when it comes to data collection, data analysis. So for us in this part of the world, we still have a very big market that we can explore. So the trend is expected to continue well into the future. And according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment of data analysts and other related occupations is projected to grow by 33% between 2020 and 2030, which is faster than the average for all occupations. The demand for data analysts can be attributed to the increased importance of data-driven decision-making in business and organizations of all sizes. And as a result, data analysts are playing essential role in shaping the strategic direction of businesses across various industries, from healthcare to finance to retail. Another report by IBM estimates that by 2025, there will be over 2.7 million job postings for data analysts and data scientists in the US alone. Now, if you extrapolate that over the world, there is a large market for data analysts. And I'm sure you want to be one of this group. So, by the end of this course, this is my hope and my belief that you will be able to ask insightful questions. You'll be able to analyze data to find answers. You'll be able to present your findings with confidence to your audience, maybe to your board, to your office, to your employer, to whoever it is. You'll be able to present your findings with confidence. So that being said, here is where we're going to take a pause with the first part of this question. And now we're going to go into some practical. Yes, I actually shared a link in the group previously with you guys where we collected certain data from you. And we're just going to see how we can analyze it and draw certain insights and visualize our visualize our findings and draw certain insights from it. So that being said, just hold on a moment. So in this section of the class, let me show you, this is our data set that we collected or I shared in the group earlier. If you are not seeing this from the WhatsApp group, I actually shared this in the group earlier, and these were the responses we got, right? The questions I actually asked for the gender, right? Sorry, I asked for the location of the respondents, right? We have people from Nigeria, we have people from Ghana. I also asked about the gender. Then I also asked to know if they have knowledge of some of the statistical and visualization tools. And I think some of the options were Excel, Python, Power BI, R, SQL, and then, some of the responses anyways. Then I also asked how you'd rate your current skill with Microsoft Excel. I also asked which of these data collection tools can you use? And I think one of the options is Google Form. One of the options is that they can't use any of the forms. They have ODK, they have Kobo Toolbox as some of the options they have there. Then I also asked how would you like this class to proceed, and so many other options. I think somewhere also I asked how much they spend averagely on internet subscription monthly, what is their favorite type of drink, soft drink, whiskey, wine, and so on. I also asked what do they prefer for breakfast in the morning, what do they prefer for breakfast? And some of their responses are here. Now, I also asked how they heard about the class, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and invitation by friends or something like that. So let us what we want to do right now is to analyze what people prefer for breakfast or what's their favorite type of breakfast. We'll just quickly look at that part of the survey of the form of the responses, and then we can see what is the average person's preference for breakfast. Okay, so the response for that is in column K right here. And here's what I'm going to do. First and foremost, before we start this analysis, we want to actually bring out, right, distinct value. We want to list out the food options that we have, right? For the question, what do you prefer for breakfast? Yeah, I think about 4 or 5 food items there. So we want to list out those 5 food items. And what we're going to do is go to the tab data, the data tab, and come to the advanced filter. Then what you want to do is select copy to another location. And for our list range, we want to change this by deleting that and then come to select column K, which contains the list of our food items of our favorite breakfast. We want to come to column K. Then we want to copy it to where? Where do we want to copy it to? N5, right? You want to delete that also and select this, right? What I selected is just a blank cell where there is nothing, no content in there, right? That's all. Then you want to now select unique records only. Why are we doing this is because we don't need all this list. We only need one to represent each of these items. So bread, egg, and tea, you can see there are multiple repetitions. So we just need one each. Bread, egg, and tea, beans and bread, white rice and stew, etc. So I'm going to select OK right now. And you can see that I have a list of my food. Bread, egg, and tea, rice and stew, beans and bread, jollof rice, yam and sauce. So before we even analyze further, in your mind right now, just tell me, which of these do you think people prefer most for breakfast? And if you get the answer, just let me know in the comments after the whole analysis. So we'll just see what, so in your mind, just pick a kind of option from this list. What do you think people really prefer for breakfast? So we have all of this right now: bread, egg, tea, rice, and stew, so on and so forth. So now what we want to do is number of people. These are the headings, these are the titles. I'm just editing that, nothing more. Right, and these are the breakfast. I'm making that bold. Let me apply border to it also. I will highlight all of this and apply border. Come to Home tab to do that and select all borders just to make it obvious and neat anyways. So now we want to know how many people selected bread, egg, and tea. We want to know how many people selected white rice and stew, and then how many people selected bread and beans, how many selected jollof rice, and how many selected yam and sauce. Now the reason for this data is because there is an E3, right, who was actually thinking, I want to know if they are opening in the morning, what do people really prefer, right, to eat in the morning? If the environment is conducive, if everywhere is nice, you have that home feel comfort, what would you like to eat when you come to our place, right? And so we just want to help them to take a survey and see what do people really like to eat, right? So instead of just cooking random food that people will not really eat, and then maybe your food gets to stay longer than usual or necessary, you can actually prepare what people love, and you get to see that you drive massive sales. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. We want to now know how many people chose bread, egg, and tea in column K. And so we're going to use a function called countif. Countif, you can see the function right now, and it's asking, look at the function helper below, it's asking for the range, and our range is the column that contains the food item. Our range is the column that contains the food item. So I'm just going to bring my mouse to the top of the column right here, right, and click on it, and you can see that it has typed in K column K. Then I'm going to press comma on my keyboard, and what is my criteria? It's now asking for my criteria, and the criteria is what I have here: bread, egg, and tea. Now you can see this. I'm going to close this bracket and say okay. And I can see down that 94 people chose bread, egg, and tea. And I'm going to just autofill this by bringing my mouse to the bottom right corner, and it changes to something like this plus sign. I click on it and drag it down. And now we'll see what the total responses look like. 94 people said bread, egg, and tea. 54 people said white rice and stew. 11 bread and beans, jollof rice, 34 people, and yam and sauce, 23 people. So we now have a list of our responses, but then it's in a tabular form, which is good. Now you may want to go further and visualize this, like put it in a chart, let people see what people prefer for breakfast. So what to do that, I need to highlight all of this. Just bring your mouse on breakfast, click on it, hold it down, then drag your mouse across this way, right? And then you want to go to Insert tab. You want to come to Charts. There are different type of charts, but maybe for today you can just open Recommended Charts to see what Excel is going to recommend for you, right? You can see a list of recommended charts that you can use. You can use a pie chart, a bar chart, and all of these kind of charts. But sometimes you don't want any of these charts. You can come to All Charts, right here, and you can see different kind of charts that you can use right here. This is a line chart, a pie chart, different kind of pie charts also. Anything you want to just visualize what you're doing, it goes. So just make sure that you pick one of these charts, and let's go with this right here, and then you select OK. And now I have something like this, right? I have something like this. So I'm going to double click on this to edit the title. Remember, your charts must come with a relatable title. It must come with a relatable title. People's preference, people's breakfast preference. Right? You can use anything as your title. It doesn't matter as long as it is relatable and people easily understand that. Now, if I look at this chart easily, I can see that bread, egg, and tea is the largest. People prefer bread, egg, and tea, followed by white rice and sauce and stuff like this. But sometimes this one looks scattered. You may want to go ahead and sort it so you can have it in descending order. And so what you do, or in ascending order, whichever way you want it, is to highlight your data set like this, right? Highlight it, click and drag to cover up everything. Then come to Home, come to Sort and Filter, and then want to sort it largest to smallest, right? And you see that as soon as we sort it now, we now have this other option. So bread, egg, and tea, white rice and stew, jollof rice, and then things like this. Now you can see that bread and beans, people in this group, right, don't really like bread and beans in the morning. And to be honest, I am very surprised with this data, right? I'm very surprised with it. But then the most preferred food is bread, egg, and tea. So if you have a restaurant right now and you are located in some of our target areas, anyway, they are very eyebrow areas, right? I think the target areas were Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Ogun State, and Accra in Ghana, and Kumasi, right? So some of these people, maybe because they are big men, they tend to prefer bread, egg, and tea in the morning. And so if those are your target population, maybe you can look into something like this. And so I do believe that you have actually learned something from this section. But don't forget, for your chart, you can always adjust some of these chart elements right here. The axis, the title, the data labels. But I will show you that in a different but I'll show that to you in a different class. So that being said, don't go away yet. We have one more section and one more thing to do. So now that we have been able to visualize people's preference for breakfast, let's actually visualize percentage of people or the kind of people that are in this group, right, that actually filled this form. We want to know how many of them are Nigerians, how many of them are Ghanaians. So I'm just going to delete this data right here. I'm going to clear this, right? And just like what we did before, we want to actually look at the location, right? We want to work on the location. How many Nigerians are here? How many Ghanaians filled this survey, right? And so we'll go to data tab and we want to do our advanced filter again. I want to say copy to another location, and our list range, which is this, I'm going to delete that and then go ahead and select column A, right? And then want to copy it to, want to delete this also and select any blank cell that you feel comfortable with right here. Just select any blank cell. Then you want to select unique records only and select OK. Right. And then right now you have this list. So you have location, we have Nigeria, we have Ghana, and we have others. So there are a few people who are not from Nigeria and Ghana. Maybe those people selected others, which is fine. Okay. And then what we now want to do next is to count how many are Nigerians, how many are Ghanaians, and how many people came from other countries. I want to say equal to at the same time we're going to count again, count if, and it's asking for the range again. Let's go back. The range is column A, right? Just select column A and type comma in your keyboard, and then the criteria is now going to be the country that we just selected, that we typed here, and then we're going to close our bracket. And we can see that there are 168 Nigerians, and we're going to autofill this again. Just bring your mouse to the bottom corner this way. Bottom corner, it changes to a plus sign. Click it and drag it down. And you can see that we have 168 Nigerians, 47 Ghanaians, and 1 person from other country. So this is the distribution of our population. All right, so what do we now want to do? We want to display this in a pie chart, or sorry, we'll display it in a chart. So I'm going to highlight all of this together also. Just bring your mouse, click on this and drag. Then we'll say insert and then come to recommended charts. There are different types of charts that you have here. Just pick one and then go ahead with it. So the other time we use the bar chart. Let's make use of a pie chart this time. And then you say, okay. And so this is what our pie chart look like. We can adjust the title by double clicking on it, click twice, then delete the content and say, give it a title, respondents by location, right? And then right now we don't even know what percentage or what's the figure right here. So what you need to do is to come to your chart elements right here, and then want to select data label. Now the moment you select it, you can see 47, 168, and this is 1, right? If you don't like this style, just come to this other option in front here, and then you see all of these other options right here. And we can see that Nigeria is 78%, Ghana is 22%, and the person from other countries, since it's only one, amounts to almost 0% or 0.00% or 0.01. Very minute percentage, and that's why it is approximating it as 0, right? You can decide to actually adjust this to not just display percentage, but to display the actual value. But we're not going to do that, so we don't waste much of our time. So I do hope you have learned something from this section also, and then we have been able to learn how to visualize your data through charts, right? And then we have been able to come to the conclusion that there are more Nigerians that filled this survey than Ghanaians. right? I don't know what the reason is, but that could be some of the questions you ask, right? As an analyst, why do you have more Nigerians filling this survey than Ghanaians? If you want to adjust that, what do you do? How do you get more Ghanaians to fill this survey, right? It will maybe you need to push the survey out to more Ghanaians, focus more of your efforts to the Ghanaian people so that they can feel more of it, right? Or you actually look at if you want more of Nigerians. So those are questions you can ask in your own mind and in your free time that will help you as an analyst. Remember, depends on what you're working on and the organization you're working on will determine the kind of questions you ask, the kind of answers you get, and what is your end goal of analyzing the data. What do you intend to achieve when you analyze this data? So don't go just yet. I will be back. And so here is the big question. Would you like to become a professional data analyst? If your answer to this question is yes, then how would you like to do that? Do you want to study on your own? Do you want to learn at your own pace? Learn on your own, just source for materials, do plenty of trial and error, and then, until you get to that point where you can say, okay, I'm now a pro. That's the first option right here. Or alternatively, would you like for somebody, a professional, to actually hold your hands and guide you through this process step by step? That way you learn to make less mistakes and you get to learn faster and better. So these are the two learning options that you have at the moment. And these are what you will learn. We are going to be using basically two softwares, Excel and Power BI. Right? You're going to be learning introduction to Excel interface, basic formulas and functions, data preparation, Power Query. You're going to learn how to clean and process data, how to transform data and how to format it, how to do data visualization, creating charts, graph, best practices for visualization. All we've just done today is to scratch the surface. You have not gone deep yet. So you will still learn further. You will learn how to analyze data, analysis techniques, summarization, aggregation, data filtering and sorting, conditional formatting, pivot tables and pivot charts. We're going to learn about data modeling, how to create data models, and building dashboards, which we also want to believe is probably the ultimate as an analyst, dashboard to visualize whatever it is you have been able to analyze. Right? You also learn advanced formula techniques, including array formulas. You're going to learn how to use a lookup, index, match functions, and you're also going to learn how to use name ranges and references. You're going to also learn how to tell stories with your data, right? And finally, you're going to have a project that you write. Now, all of this is going to take 10 weeks training session via Google Meet, right? So we're going to be having personal interaction over the next 10 weeks, 3 hours every week, 1 hour on Friday and 2 hours on Saturdays. And weekly, you also get practice questions that you go home with. And every Friday for the 1 hour, what you are actually going to do is to make presentations, question and answers, right? It's for you, the student, who would actually come back to present whatever you have done during the week or how far you have gone with your assignments, and then you present it to the class. We're just going to interact and see what you've done. Where do you need to make adjustments? Where do you need to perform better? These are some of the things we'll be doing in class every Friday. Also, you'll be getting access to weekly recordings in your mailbox. So, what does this mean? What does it entail? Right now, this class, you get discounted access to this class at the moment, because at the moment it's going for 15,000 naira. Previously it's going for 45, but for the discounted offer you get access to this class for just 15,000 naira if you're a Nigerian, and if you're a Ghanaian it goes for 150 Ghana cedis. Now, this discounted offer is only for a limited period of time. In fact, we only need 20 people in this group, right? So that you can actually focus more on the people, and then we don't just talk stories and then you come to the class, you don't get anything, right? So you're going to be getting as free bonus a fully unlocked Microsoft Office 2019. You may think this is not necessary, but you will only find it painful, right, if you register for a class and you are using a way older version than your tutor. I noticed this and learned this the hard way, right? So sometimes ago, I was using Office 365, which is one of the advanced, or probably the most advanced software for Microsoft Office. And I realized that I had access to a lot of the newer functions, newer tabs than some of these older versions, much more than even than all of the older versions. The functions that you have on 365 are not available on this older version. And so sometimes you are just teaching your students and it's working on your PC, you're seeing what you're doing, but your students cannot relate because their own version of Office do not support the function or the formula you are using. And so there's a disconnect between teacher and student. So to avoid that, I have decided to include a fully unlocked Office 2019 in this package for the first 20 students to make full payment. You also get video tutorial to create data collection forms. You are a data analyst, you must learn how to create and collect data yourself. You're also going to get a video tutorial on PowerPoint for presentation. Right? Just like the slide you've been watching all day, you can see the animations, you can see the way it's looking beautiful for your presentation, for your organizations, right? You must, you should be able to create nice slides that you can use. And so to get access to this class, just book a seat right now via Seller. Seller is an online payments platform that you can use to make payments from across the globe, get your banking details, your bank card, and you can use to make payment via Seller by just going through this website, https:/seller.co/pay15500, pay 15,500, right? Just go through this link right now, write it down, https semicolon or colon / again seller.co/pay15500. That's the link that you're going to use, and you can immediately get access to this class. Remember, for Nigerians, the discounted rate at the moment is 15,000 naira, and for Ghanaians, it is 150 Ghana cedis. Now, this is not just all by mouth. There is a money back guarantee and 100% money back guarantee. If at the end of this 10-week lecture, you are unable to analyze or visualize data with Excel and Power BI, then I know we have failed you. So just reach out to us with proof that you've attended the 10 weeks of lectures, right? And you did all the assignments you were given. We will tender a public apology to you for wasting your time and offer you a full refund of your money. And that's why we're actually asking you that you pay via Seller, so that all of this can be documented and you can, there will be no problem making your refund. So that being said, do well right now. Just take your phone, connect to the internet, and you can make payment via Seller by going to the website www.seller.co/pay15500. That being said, I will see you very soon. I'll see you in class.